there to your right on the dot. Now that's one of our endangered mating species. Those are the four-finger sloths there. They've been trying to breed them, but unsuccessful at the moment. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what we got back here is two 454 cubic inch motors from an old 77 Eldorado. So we are fast and we're cruising in style. Now, when we can push about 700 to 800 horsepower. Now, when I tell you to hold on to your goodies, grab them up tight. I'm going to give this baby all she's got. Now, with the wind, it's pushing against us a little bit, but we're going to try to get up and go as fast as we can. Once again, just if you got cameras and you got phones, hold them close to you, but make sure you keep them out. You never know when something's going to pop up out of the water. Right here to your right hand side, you're going to see a little baby juvenile just got his snout out of the water. Let's see if we can turn around on him a little bit. Yep. He's right here to your right hand side, and he's going to head up under those spider ducks. Now let's see if we can turn around and get him to come out for us. He went down. Well, hold on to your goodness. We can get out here and see if we can find some more alligators, but that's a good sign. Now I want you guys to have a good time, explore with me. Every time I go out here, I see something new and different. Very peaceful, very relaxing. But right now, hold on to your goodies. Like Tom Cruise said, I got some need. There's some speed. Hold on. first canal that we're going into, we call this Jesse's Trail. Don't ask me why, that's just what we call it. I wish that I had Jesse's Trail. I think it was a song. Anyway, so this is Jesse's Trail. Now this is a man-made canal. It's about 30 feet deep now. In the early 1900s, the Army Corps of Engineers started dredging this out. They were going to make some homes out of it, little agricultural land here. Now if you head straight up that way, you'll see this crazy bass fisherman that's flying by us here. They get a little stupid out here sometimes. Now if you head up about 150 miles, you go into the center of the lake. Gonna hit you right around Lake Okeechobee. Now when you get to Lake Okeechobee, you take a left into Kissimmee. Take the Kissimmee River, take you all the way over to Orlando. You'll see on both sides of us all this sawgrass. As far as you can see from the right, all you see from the left. Now that's why they call this the River Grass. Now in 1947, this became a national park. Now you may hear me refer to her as a river. A lot of people think that the Everglades is just one big swamp, but it's not a swamp at all. It is actually a slow-moving river. And she moves about 5 feet an hour, so very slow. Close to about 200 miles long, all the way to Okeechobee, all the way down to south. She's got different terrains and different kinds of water, brackish and salt water, fresh water. We'll talk a little bit more about the fish and animals that live here. Wet season, so this is a little higher than it normally is. We're starting to get a cold front that's moving in here. That's what all this wind is about. Now this part of the river that we're going to move into here. Now this is about 5 to 6 feet deep. Now in a couple months you come back out here, you can pretty much walk across this right here. It'll be about 1 foot to 2 feet deep, and this will recede down to about 30 feet here. Now these islands on the left and right of us that we're moving into, we call them Vulture Island. Basically they are man-made islands. They pushed all this rock and sediment up here. Now, if you go straight up that way, you're going to go down Alligator Alley. You'll hit what's called the Miccosukee Reservation, and that's the Big Cypress. Now that's a whole different terrain there. There's a lot of land there. The water's not as thick. It's more like a it looks more like a swamp. And you see animals like black bears and panthers, foxes, and huge, when I say huge, big Burmese python. Some of the bigger pythons they've caught out here, 20-something feet. Now, python is an invasive species here. It's not native to the Everglades. As big as 21 feet with 4-foot alligators inside them. They have no natural predators. People get them for pets. They dump them out here in the Everglades. Don't realize they populate really fast. Sometimes they lay 40 to 50 eggs at a time. They do have a program in Florida. You can go out, they pay you about $15 an hour to catch these big old snakes. $25 a foot if you're into that thing. Now you can see a little bit into this water. It's kind of clear, little ripples on there. You might see some bedding bass and tilapia up here in the corner. You'll kind of see the bed. So you fishermen know what to look for. A little white bed, they kind of dig it out. The male and female take turns guarding that nest. There's a big bass right to the left of us, right? And that big, ooh, that was a big one. Now, some other animals you might see in this little part of the river: soft-shelled turtles, alligator turtles, snapping turtles, some snakes. Now you see that little bed there. I don't know if there's any bass on it. Yep, there's a couple big bass swimming on it. You can kind of see them swimming away there. Now, a little bit about these vulture islands at night. You get about seven to 800 of them. These will be full right now. They're all out on the Roadkill Cafe trying to find out where they can get off the street. And they're scavengers. And basically the garbage men here, the Everglades, they kind of clean up what nobody else wants. Now, real clever about the male. Now, when the male's ready to mate, he's got a real clever way of finding a female. He waits for her to fly by. He grabs her out of the sky and throws her down into the water. If she submits, she'll go back to the branch where he's at, and that's it. They'll mate for life. One bird. But before that happens, lady, she takes him down to Zell's and picks out a big diamond. That's how you can tell the females from the males. She said you got to put a ring on it. Now, you see this white stuff on this branch over here. Well, when you get that many birds, you know what else you get, right? Well, it's not what you think. That is not bird poop. Now, if those birds are sitting up in that tree, we get too close to that branch and he don't like it, that's projectile vomit. He'll shoot you from about 20 feet away and he'll hit you right in the back of the head. I only know this because no one told me not to get too close to the trees. To your goodies, we're going to get out here to a little deeper part and see if we can find us some alligators. Now, a little bit about the alligator, what we're going to do out here. Now, this is called a shiner hole. For all you fishermen who knows what golden shiners are, this place is full of them. Bass drive up in here, other fish drive up in here, and they feed on those golden shiners. Now, if you look down this canal over here, you'll see just how big and wide the river is. As far as I can see, nothing but sawgrass and water. That's all part of the river. That's slow moving river. Now, a little bit about the alligator. The alligators don't have the best sense of smell, nor do they have the best vision in the world. But they can sense things through vibration, so a lot of times a fish comes swimming by, or they can feel a boat or a prop in the water. They might come up and check it out and see why somebody's in their territory. So we're going to cruise through this grass a little bit, see if we can drum up a little noise and see if we can get an alligator to take some interest in us. said, this water here, you can probably see to the bottom here, not that deep. About in 2 months, it'll be even more shallow, about a foot to 2 feet deep here. Now you could walk through it if you wanted to. I wouldn't recommend it. Now a little bit about this grass. It's called sawgrass. Got sawgrass and cattails in here. Now what this does, it basically filters out a lot of this water. Keeps it a little clearer than it is. Without it, it'd be black. Now if you look off, you'll see kind of a little, it looks like almost a fungus kind of, I call it a fern. That's actually a carnivorous plant. They actually eat mosquitoes and other fish. They got a little bubble on them, it opens up. And they'll suck in anything that swims by. Now there's we got about 40 species of mosquitoes out here, so they eat a lot of the mosquitoes. This is one place you don't want to be after night. You'll get tore up by the mosquitoes out here. Now, coming up over here, you'll kind of see this little hollows in this grass area. Now what that is, when all this water recedes back down in the cold season, alligators will dig out these holes they call swallow. What they'll do is they'll get up in those, wait for all the fish to kind of come in there, and they just kind of sit there all winter. It's kind of a smorgasbord for them. Now the only problem where there's one gator and a lot of fish, there's usually more gators. Now they'll come in there and they'll fight to the death if they have to take over that hole. These plants that were growing over here that are kind of floating. Now a lot of people think they're water lilies. They're actually called spatterdocs. Now if you were out here, needed something to eat, you could actually eat this spatterdock. The bottom is kind of like a potato. You can boil it and eat it. And these little yellow flowers, they have a little seed inside of them. It almost pops up like a popcorn, kernel of popcorn. So you could survive. There's a worm that lives down there, great protein. more about the Everglades here. Now she's about 5,000 square miles, about half of what it used to be. Due to dredging and building on it, she's shrinking about 50%. Now people do depend on the Everglades for drinking water, about 8 to 10 million people. What happens is water's pumped down all the way down to Miami, to the Miami aquifer, and it's filtered out. Pumped right back into your home. Now, help me keep a good eye out. Now, sometimes these alligators like to get up and they spatter it out, especially in this canal here where the wind is not near as bad sometimes. Now, when that wind's blowing, they're like us. They don't like to be out in the weather. They regulate their body temperature by kind of going up and down in this water. Now, they're cold-blooded, so if it's super cold on the surface, they're going to find someplace in the water where the temperature is just right for them, or if it's too hot on the surface, they're going to find a temperature in the water that suits them.